So in this video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Ladera Ranch, California. And we have done videos like this in the past. So we're going to give you some updates. We're going to be, real. We're going to be raw. And I think, in the past, maybe we took a little bit of things for granted because we're local. So now that we've been doing these videos for a while.
Thanks to your input.
We're going to maybe get a little bit, of an outsider's perspective on what Ladera Ranch has to offer.
So stay tuned. What's up, everybody? I'm Dezahd.
And I'm Dezahd, and we're with Keller Williams Realty.
Right here in Orange County, California. And if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything about working, eating, sleeping, living, and playing in Orange County, don't forget to click on the subscribe button. And don't forget to click on the little bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. Now, we love getting calls from people looking to either buy or sell a home in Orange County, and we're getting calls from everywhere, like around the world. So if you're thinking about moving to, moving from, or moving within Orange County, either give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can contact us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back. So Ladera Ranch is a very large, it's actually not a city, it's a census district.
Yes.
But it's a very large master planned community in South Orange County, or what we say, South County. So explain, so was Ladera Ranch is like the kind of the last really massive master planned community in Orange County?
I definitely, they can always probably squeeze out some lands here or there, but
in terms of like the massive.
But yeah, lately, like I remember when that was being built, I was like, oh wow, there's that tract of land that was just developed into this huge master plan community. And at first I thought it was like way out of the way, right? But actually I was showing clients properties there and I was going, you know what, actually it's not that far out of the way.
Yeah, I actually have a friend, they used to be obsessed with Ladera Ranch, and I would just think to myself, why, it's so far away?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you go out there? But they really, first of all, it's actually, so explain, off the freeway, like how long is it?
12 minutes. So if you're going down the 5 freeway and you take Crown Valley Parkway, you pass basically the shops at Mission Viejo, and then a little bit farther, a few more minutes, and you're in Ladera Ranch. And conversely speaking, if you're going to Laguna Niguel, like off the 5 freeway, off of Crown Valley Parkway, in 12 minutes you're going to be like kind of more in the heart of Laguna Niguel. So you're you're kind of equidistant from the 5 freeway.
Yeah, and one of the things that she really loved about Ladera Ranch is that you get a lot of value for your money. So explain what like in terms of where does your dollar go for your money?
Oh, it definitely stretches like goes a long way in Ladera Ranch. For comparable communities like in the area, you're going to spend way more in those other communities than you will in Ladera Ranch. So Ladera Ranch really offers a ton of value for what you're buying there, for sure.
Yeah, and this is not to say that it is cheap to live in Ladera Ranch.
Nothing is these days.
Yeah, nothing in Orange
County is, honestly, the housing market's just is on fire everywhere.
Yeah.
And so basically Ladera Ranch, like everywhere else, has increased in value. People, like proximity to, let's say, the job centers aren't as important now as they used to be. We've so moved off, off, not off the grid, but basically we do a lot more work from home.
Yeah.
And because of that, people can actually, I think that they're really appreciating quality of life, just like where they, they want to be more again, being at home, that's where they want to be.
Yeah, and in terms of, I would say our first real experience with Ladera Ranch, because we have like 2 kids and they have some friends that live in Ladera Ranch, so we were invited out to enjoy some time in Ladera Ranch by going to a concert in the park. And what was our experience? It's Ladera Ranch.
It's a flashback.
It's a flashback.
So okay, a little bit of
how
it.
we grew up.
Yes.
In the 1980s.
Yeah, because actually it's kind of funny. So this actual concert was an 80s concert. So people were in their 80s get up and stuff like that, which obviously aesthetically was one of the more beautiful decades as far as fashion and everything.
Yeah.
But what's kind of funny though is that maybe it was because of that, but it really added to the 80s vibe of Ladera Ranch, where I remember our daughter was running off to play with her her friend, and our daughter's 7, right? So she was running off to play with her friend at the playground, and it wasn't quite we
didn't have direct eyesight.
Yeah, and we're like, wow, this is not that we're helicopter parents, but we were kind of like, well, I can't see where she is, but we had to actually trust that she'd be okay.
Yeah.
Even though it was a little uncomfortable, but this was the general vibe. And obviously as a kid when we were growing up, I mean, we would do this all the time, but it was just kind of weird. But like that was the kind of the vibe. I mean, and just kids, and obviously kids inevitably did get lost a little bit. But the concert, like
at the end of the concert,
lost parents.
They
basically
had the lost parents where you gotta reconnect the kids with the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when this was happening, the parents of my daughter's friend, they're like, oh, don't worry about it. Everyone in Ladera Ranch, they kind of look out for each other.
Very neighborly. I mean, it's like a very communal aspect is really cool. And I mean, and it really is like illustrative of it is like that park where where it's a big park and it's just it's just for the residents there, right? And their friends, of course, but it's just really cool. Like people just gather together and they really do look out for each other there.
Yeah, and when you go to Ladera Ranch, there are literally kids all over the streets. I mean, this is in Orange County. Any place in Orange County, you're not really going to see kids playing in the neighborhoods like you would in the 1980s, like when we were a kid, where our parents would just let us go and then we'd be gone, right? But in Ladera Ranch, you walk around and there's kids, riding their bikes. There's kids out playing baseball, and there's no parents supervising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ladera Ranch, on niche.com ranks, I think number 1 or 2, depending on the year, of most family-friendly cities or areas in Orange County. And you can really see it playing out because you just have all these. Again, even how the streets are set up. I mean, you're not going to be flying down those streets, right? I mean,
because they have big roundabouts.
Yeah, and you have parks, you have streets, you have good schools there.
And the amenities, you have
amazing.
like splash pads, pools, skate parks, and then they also have a bunch of, activities that people like to use, whether that's Girl Scouts for their kids or whatever. They have a lot of planned activities as well, which is another reason.
Yeah, they take the planned community down to a whole other level. I mean, it's because obviously when you think of planned communities, let's say you think of Irvine, and they do have obviously it's master, a lot of it's master planned. However, Ladera Ranch really is like very granular about it. I mean, it is down to the T. Yeah. And again, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's not for everyone, but if you really just want something that's really clean and nicely kept, and again, pretty new. Ladera Ranch is really awesome. Yeah, and just remember that when you're backing out of your driveway, you gotta double check to make sure there's no kids, because that was actually a warning. Some friends of ours, we went over to their house, and then they were like, okay, but just remember that when you're coming here, don't back out of our driveway without looking, because the house next to us, their boys are constantly like coming onto our driveway, so you gotta watch out. Just be mindful of it. Yeah. And then I would say, maybe some of the cons about Ladera Ranch is that they don't really have that great of, shopping, grocery stores, that kind of stuff. I mean, right there. No, I mean, so within the city or the census tract district, the limits of the city, or or the area. It's not, you don't have a ton, you have a couple little retail shops, like a couple little strip malls, but basically you're going to have to definitely venture realistically outside of there to kind of get to some more major shopping. Yeah. But fortunately, that con is mitigated because, the shops in Mission Viejo, it's actually a pretty good sized mall. And it's only a few minutes, 5 minutes away. I mean, it's super close. And then the Spectrum is just 15 minutes away. I mean, so you're pretty close to a lot of shopping. But if you're looking for something right within the area limits, you're not going to really find it there. Yeah, and then another con is you might get in a fight with the Real Housewife of Orange County.
You said 3 times. Wow, let's go. She gave me the evil eye. Did you not say that, bro?
Ladera Ranch, famously, if you ever watched the Real Housewives of Orange County, which I have watched,
they were represented out there.
Yeah, a few of them lived in Ladera Ranch, and during my maternity leave days, I would definitely be watching them fighting in Ladera Ranch. So I don't know. Because
what else can you fight? Because everything is so you're so comfortable, right? You might as well fight about. You have to. If you're gonna fight, you gotta find some reason.
Yeah, they gotta find reasons to fight. So the producers found reasons for them to fight.
Exactly. Yeah. It's reality TV. There's no it's real, right?
It's real. That's for sure.
That's true.
So another con is that, if you don't like master planned communities, I would definitely not recommend Ladera Ranch, because
most of South Orange County. For that matter.
South Orange County. And then talk about the lot sizes, because you're not going to get big backyards typically.
Typically, yes. I mean, there are some pockets at the Ladera Ranch that offer some more size. And again, if that's something that if you're really liking Ladera Ranch and you're wanting to kind of zero in on those, you got to reach out to us, because we can kind of point you to those properties. But as a general whole, they're pretty tight. I mean, it's obviously, the houses, they are detached, but it's very close to being, a townhouse.
Almost like a townhouse.
Yeah, and again, even the backyards, they're more big patios than yards. I mean, as a general whole, again, they kind of make up for it because they have so much community amenities, like we mentioned earlier. So they do have that where it's less about what's actually in your own in your own property line as opposed to a very short walking distance.
Yeah, for sure. And then, even though it is a master plan community, I would say that they did a really good job, because some master plan communities, the houses, every house looks the same, right?
A different shade of beige.
Yeah, a different shade of beige. Whereas I would say the architects of Ladera Ranch, they did a really good job of making it seem like each house was individually built.
Yes, it does feel like there was at least some thought put into not making everything so uniform and cookie cutter. There is some variation. It does kind of have that feel of different colors, different features affixed to the property to kind of dress it up where they feel more individual.
Yeah, for sure. And then another pro of Ladera Ranch is that it's part of the Capistrano Unified School District, which
is a really good school district.
Yeah, so it offers not only just the local schools that you have. If you look at the rankings on niche.com, they all get good rankings. But then, you also are part of Capistrano, so you could maybe transfer to some, whatever school you want. As Capistrano famously has, some language immersion programs. It has, other...
Waldorf as well.
Yeah, Waldorf.
Yeah, so they have Mandarin immersion, they have Spanish immersion within their, within the actual school district, what they offer. Yeah. And you can transfer to one of those schools. Yeah,
and then they have, a school that does, Waldorf. And they also have a school, it's called Community Roots, and that goes by the Reggio philosophy. So you have a lot of, different options, yeah. And then it's also, Ladera Ranch is fairly close to Rancho Santa Margarita, so they do have a popular private school.
Yeah. Very popular. Yeah, as far as the high schools goes, it's pretty popular.
Yeah, so you do have that. So, your opportunities for education, if you're looking for that, is
really good.
Really good.
For sure.
And then
as far as a con, sort of, is the weather, and that basically, Ladera Ranch is a little east, of course, of the 5 freeway, so therefore, a little off the coast. Again,
it's still the best weather in the world.
It's still really, really good, but it's, you will, again, you will need to turn on the air conditioner in the summer. That's just kind of reality. You will probably want to utilize those splash pads that they have, because it is really nice to have basically a water park, part of your community.
Well, they do have a water park and splash pads.
Oh, wow. So you have that. Yeah, so they have both. And so it's kind of cool to have these options.
Yeah.
But so you can take advantage of those in the summer. But yeah, it's going to get warmer in the summer. Again, really nice, realistically speaking, but again, if you're comparing it to Newport Beach or right along the coast, it's going to be a little worse.
But one good thing is that if you just head down Crown Valley, you are actually fairly close to Dana Point.
Yeah, you'll have a dump right into Monarch Beach right there. Crown Valley will take you right to PCH.
Yeah, so you're fairly close to the beach, so you can, on any given day, if you need some beach time, you can obviously go there.
Yeah, I would say probably by 15, 20 minutes down Crown Valley Parkway, you're right there.
And then I would say probably one of the biggest cons that people have is that, if you are working more in the big employment hubs of Orange County or even LA, the big employment hubs are Newport Beach, Irvine, Anaheim, and then obviously into LA.
It's a little bit of a drive.
It's a little bit of a drive. So, if you are wanting sort of, what Ladera
I would say so it depends on where, right? So obviously LA, that's going to be a bit of a drive.
Yeah.
If you're going to the Spectrum, it's actually honestly not that far away.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty huge hub too. So you're not going to be that far away. Probably about, again, 15 minutes away from the Spectrum. And Newport Beach is a bit more of a drive. But yeah, a lot. I mean, the Irvine Spectrum is such a huge employment hub with so many headquarters and high-paying jobs there that chances are that again, there's going to be some pretty good employment opportunities there.
Yeah, for sure. So that's it. That's our video.
Now, if you're really finding that one property that you really want to see, or at least to possibly move to, or either want to just check out, you got to either give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can contact us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back.